Ah, hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Is everything in this room made of aluminium extrusion? A lot of it is, not all of it. My workbenches are all proper steel folded sheet steel assemblies. But a lot of the stuff is. Casa's made of extrusions. The table that Casa's on is made of extrusions. The table leg for this one is made of a tiny bit of echo. Dog is made of milk bones, yes. Tiny bit of echo. Don't know what that could be from. Might be from my other mic, so I'm going to turn that off. That fixed it. Oh, I know what it is. Is that better? I think it was the noise cancelling that I normally have on. I normally have noise cancelling turned on the hardware noise cancelling. I forgot to turn it on. Right. How you doing, Jormungand? How you doing, Dave? I hope everyone's having a good day. Yeah, Brisket tends to sleep through most of the streams. He's a really active dog, and he doesn't leave me the fuck alone most of the time. But for some reason, whenever I'm on stream, he just sits here nice and calmly. I think he knows that I'm working somehow. Anyways, it may just need to be positioned slightly up. Is that any better? I haven't changed anything audio-wise. This is still the same mic I normally use. Anyways, if you are just joining us, thank you for coming. Shout yourselves off in chat. It's always a much nicer stream when people are actually interacting all the time. Nicktan, finally able to catch stream. Evening, everyone. Yeah, I thought today would be, because it's a Monday, I thought no one really wanted to do a late stream because obviously they got the rest of the week coming. And I wanted to make it a bit earlier for the guys in Europe as well. Most of the time I aim to be a little later in the day so that we can get the American audience here because they're most of the people who watch. But today I thought we'd pander to the Europeans for once. I don't actually mean pandering, by the way. Yeah, but welcome. Thanks for coming. Today is going to be a mixed mash of things. We've got the second set of FMJs to put on the V1.6. Yes, I am doing 2 sets of FMJs on a single one. That's the benefit to going with V1.6 over V2, is you can do that. V2 doesn't really have the ability to do that. Not without changing some other things. Hey, Thomas. And usual suspects. Yeah. Yo, again, I feel pandered. Well, I'm glad I can pander to you. So yeah, we're working on the X-axis for the last 2 streams. Yeah, for the last 2 streams. Hopefully we can finish that off. We're not far off finishing it as it is. So, whoa, everything's falling all over as per usual in these streams. Yeah, so last time we finished off, my internet just bust for some reason. It's because whatever reason, my internet just cuts off at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, which is dumb, but is the way it is what it is. My ISP sucks, and I was in the middle of explaining how to put the anti-backlash nut together. Now, I've done this before, and I did most of it on stream last time, so I'm not going to go over it again. We're just going to get it tuned up now. Hey all, Casa caught some light fingerprints, I guess. Oh yeah, yeah. These panels don't stay clean. Hey Jose. Yeah, it's because this is the electronics panel, so I'm constantly taking it off and on. So it's never clean. It's never clean. Don't need that one. I need one. I need my other Allen key. Right, tuning time. Oh, I just realized I need to put 2 more of these M3x40s on. Right, what's everyone been up to this week or this over the weekend? Oh, speaking of which, actually, I want to show you guys some stuff. I want to show you guys something. So I don't think we discussed this. I may have mentioned it every now and again, but we're going with an HOI setup for this V1.6 build, a Hearts of Iron build, but we're only doing a half plate. So this is part of V2 and V1.6. You can choose just to have the one HOI. So it's stronger than having just the printed part, but it's not as expensive as getting the two. It's not as expensive as using both HOI slots. So you can just decide to do that if you want to. And I also built something. I finally used my V2 for something useful. Right. It's not the best quality in the world, but it is accurate. Accurate enough. And I have done a test fit with this. Yeah. So yeah, I'll do a full screen webcam for you guys. All right, so this is the tram plate for V2. So V2 and V1.6 have two Z plates. So they have the one Z plate sits on top of the other. So that's the one, this is the one that interfaces with the actual spindle mount. And this top hole here is for a shoulder bolt and allows you to rotate the plate around that shoulder bolt and everything, and have the spindle clamped to it so that you can tram it in a lot easier. So that came off of V2 a few days ago. There's a little bit of chatter, but that's mostly due to the fact that I was using a tiny 2.5mm end mill for this because it was the only one I had. And then I also got to use my fly cutter for the first time in a while. So there's that. Yeah, came out looking nice actually. Came out looking pretty nice. McFly or die! Wait, McFly or pie? I'm late. Curse you! To the brig with you. Anyone who's late should go to the brig. Be locked up and sent away forever. I built my castle with clear panels only, not clean, but you don't see it as well. Is it fit acrylic panels? Yeah. Acrylic panels will always be dirty. There's no such thing as a clean acrylic panel unless it's the moment you take off that little peel. Once that peel comes off, it's the cleanest it will ever be. Yeah, it's a pretty nice part. Oh, I'm trying to wire in my touch probe. I am clueless. Gonna finish tomorrow. I'm about to go to work. You'll have a great day. Fair enough. Yeah, touch probe should be easy. Just take any end stop port. Literally any of the end stop ports will work. And make sure you've got signal wired to, it's normally the middle pin. No, I'm not going to say it's normally the middle pin. It's normally one of the three pins. Make sure the signal's in the right place, make sure everything else is in the right place, and just make sure you're using the right pin in MOS when you set it up. Anyways, right. I'm getting way too distracted already, and it's only the beginning of stream. M3x40s. This is why I like having you guys here, because it makes me feel like I'm doing some work when I actually know that I'm not doing any work at all. And it's taking me 5 times longer to do anything, but it makes me feel like I'm getting stuff done. Has anyone tried installing an eddy current based probe on Milo? Why would you do... I'm not going to judge it, but why would you want to? Here's my question. What do you think you'll get out of having an eddy current sensor on Milo? Pinning is different between flyboard and silent. Here. Nice, appreciated. I did post in the Millennium OS page on Discord. Stay frosty. Later, peeps. Later, dude. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy work. Good question, not one I can answer. Yeah, I have the same thing with input shaping, because firmware supports input shaping now. It has done for like a year at this point. And I really want to input shape just on Milo, see what it's like. It should be pretty easy because the X and Y axis are on the same plane, are on the top of each other. So it's kind of a reverse Core XY in that way. Not the actual motion system, but how the axes ride on top of each other. Ooh. I think this is the same issue we had last time. One of these rods is slightly bent, so it doesn't ride very well. Where is... It fell on the floor just now. Yes, found it. Slightly less bent rod. Mr. Hans, hey Jake, nice to catch your stream. Finally getting a lot of help from you on this guy. Yeah. Hey, no worries, dude. We're all here to help at the end of the day, and it makes life a lot easier for everyone. But yeah, you have the same problems that most people have when they're machining. I watch a lot of like other machines getting reviewed, so a lot of the time I watch like the Carvera Air and Carvera machines get a lot of YouTube fandom for some reason. I hate those machines. I don't think they're good machines at all. But the issue is that you've got people who've never used CNC machines before who are doing reviews on a CNC machine, not realizing all the mistakes that they're making. And it really annoys me because someone was doing a review, they were doing a comparison versus, they were doing the Carvera Air versus the full on Carvera. And they were cutting at like 200 millimeters a minute at 0.2 millimeter depth of cut. And only like a 70% step over. There is no way in hell that you are getting a part that is accurate at that level, because all you are doing is you are pumping a whole load of heat into that part, and it's just going to either warp or this, that, and the next thing. I like the concept of those machines, but just the performance and what you're getting out of them, and the fact that they're... I don't want to use the term going towards an uneducated mass, because that's not the right way to describe it. People who don't know any better. Those are even more conservative than my kids. Exactly. But they're going away telling people that, oh, this is a great machine, and this, that, and the next thing. And they're like, well, it's not really a great machine. It's just people don't know what else to compare it to. They have nothing else to compare it to. I watched the comparison between the two machines. It was a tiny 3.75 and no as well. Exactly. So there's absolutely no force going on that tool. It's just one of those things where it would have made it so much better if someone with actual experience used it. That's why. So we're having a hard time like marketing Milo at the moment, because the thing is, it takes a lot of knowledge to get a CNC machine going. Yeah, they're not cheap machines either. I think the Carvera Air is like $2.5 grand, but you're getting, I think it's like a 300 watt spindle. It's either a 300 or 500 watt spindle on it. And you know me, I'm always the one who advocates for the 1.5K spindle on Milo, because I think 2.2K is too much. You're never going to use that much power on Milo. But I do think 500 watts is a bit too low at the same time for a machine of Milo's size. And it would be so easy to make the Carvera a lot better of a machine as well. Like the Voron Cascade is actually the first time I've been semi-okay with those enclosed style machines. But again, from what I've seen of the Voron Cascade, it's going to be like $3 grand. I'd still rather pay that $3,000 to Voron over the 2.5K for the Carvera Air. Any day I'd spend that money. I think it kind of goes back to that whole thing I was talking about in my video a while back. Like, people buy spec sheets, they don't buy performance a lot of the time. I do a bit of drilling with my Milo, so I use a bit of extra low down torque. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're using Milo to do low speed operations, it makes more sense. There's just no good spindle in that small form factor. I agree with you. Also, is that Lotto's? I haven't seen your YouTube username before. Is that Lotto? Now that you mentioned it, does anyone know what's going on with the cadence? Do you mean the Cascade? From last I heard, the Cascade is it's between like 6 months and a year out from being released. I talked to Dave about it. Dave from LDO, and although he doesn't know, I'm not going to say Dave knows anything because he's not part of the Voron team, but he does communicate with him quite often. It does look like it's a while out. I think the main issue is one of the issues that we faced, and we just decided to go with something custom, is they're using a Saunders Machine Works fixture plate to do the Y motion, to do the table, which is a good idea because they're great fixture plates. The issue is you can't get them anywhere else in the world other than the US, and they're expensive. So if you're gonna commit to something like that, you might as well make something custom. That's why we do fixated. That's why fixated is a thing, because at least that way it's a cheaper barrier to entry. But again, I don't know what's happening with the Voron guys. They're really good engineers, so hopefully they do something cool. When I was thinking about what to buy and saw Carvera's 200 watt or something like that spindle, I instantly crossed it out of my list. It seemed a bit low powered for my liking. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. I need some lube. Not the fun kind either. You can definitely tell that the Americans aren't here just yet. They're all still at work or at lunch. Easiest way to lube a screw on Milo. I do need to biggest. By the way, what's the biggest improvement between V1.6 over V1.5? It's mostly quality of life stuff. It's things like having the tram plates, things like having the way covers. Basically, it's all the stuff that we designed V2 to have, but all the stuff that we could actually port back to V1.6. One of the cool things is that this is not really a thing that we designed into V2, but it's something I think would be cool to focus on with V1.6. I actually think V1.6 will be a stiffer machine. So if you wanted to do kind of steels and things like that, and you didn't mind the smaller work area and the fact that you can't tram it in nod very easily, you can put 2 FMJs on the Z-axis for V1.6. It's directly mounted to the Y-axis, so that's a lot stiffer as it is. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can probably get away with V1.6. It'll probably be a stiffer machine. So that's a thing that you can look forward to. If you're happy with your V1.5, don't really see that much of an upgrade, of of a performance upgrade. If you've built your V1.5, if it's ready, if it's all set up, leave it. Or if you just want to upgrade things, if you're that kind of person and you just want a project to do, upgrade to V1.6. Just gonna get the excess off here. Any benefit to adding extra lube to the center of the backlash before install? Yes, there is. So there is a little hole here. So that access hole normally has a Zerk fitting. So you normally put an M5 heat insert in and a Zerk fitting, and it has internal routing to the center. You just pump that full of grease and you don't have to grease it again. I just haven't done that for this build because I don't have any Zerk fittings left, and I don't have one of the hydraulic hand guns that Mandic has. But I do recommend doing that before installing it. You don't actually have to have the Zerk fitting there at all. If you just want to use a hand pumper, go ahead. I wouldn't do it with just a tube because it's too much pressure that way, and you can just burst the tube that you're using. Nobody here could ever even consider taking on a project just for the project. Yeah, no one would ever do that here. Wait, so I could put like another FMJ over the current one, for example. If I get like a steel 1-2, I could add that over the other. Yeah, probably. That's the plan on this one. So this V1.6 is just going to be an assembly model, just basically for me to check that everything fits correctly, because I know all the features work between V1.5 and V2. So I know all the features are going to work. This is more just to make sure that everything fits properly. On this one, because we're going to give it away at the end to whoever in the UK can be bothered to come and pick it up, it's going to get the steel FMJs that are on here, and then it's going to get another set on top of that. I am genuinely considering, because I have another set of old FMJs, I am genuinely considering doing a triple stack for whoever wants it. But the issue with the triple stack is it makes the printed parts look really weird. So you're telling me I have to go to the UK this summer? Yeah! Yomungan, you are more than welcome to come visit at any time. Why is my monitor gone off? And my monitor's back. Perfect. The fat metal jacket. Yes! Yes! I like that. I like that as a mod. As a mod name. It seems like you're going thicker steel would be better versus multiple layers. Yeah, if you want to go with that, you can do. Yes. The thing is, a lot of people don't have the ability or just don't want to go through the hassle of sourcing that kind of stuff themselves. So they can just go on DMS or West3D or Fabreeko and just order 2 of the standard parts and just stick them together. The thicker part would probably be more beneficial. The single thicker part would be more beneficial, but people just got to work with what they have. And I had a bunch of these laying around, so I'm using them. Would be nice to have something like Send Cut Send in. Yeah. Don't bring Send Cut Send up around me. It sends me into an existential crisis every time. I hate that the Americans have such easy access to laser cutting. And it's such cheap access too. It annoys me to no end. Good not to waste the aluminium, the LDO aluminium FMJs. Yeah, exactly. Just reuse what you got. Because you're going to get a set of FMJs with the LDO kit anyway. So you can either just throw those out and never look at them again, or just buy another set and stick those on. If it was me personally who was doing this and I didn't have access to LDO who sends us parts and stuff, I would just buy another LDO kit. I am way too lazy to send stuff through PCB way. And I don't want to have to look at laser cutting costs here in the UK because they're shit compared to Send Cut Send. I should get that fiber laser. Yes! Yes! The thing is with fiber lasers is the motion components are the cheap part. And a good motion component for a fiber laser can run you $3 grand, $2 to $3 grand. And that's the cheap part. You have to stop adding FMJs when it doesn't fit in CAS anymore. Oh god. Yeah. Milo is going the way of its creator and just getting wider as time goes on. Oh, nice. Yeah, I used to have my own little forge back when I was... So I started blacksmithing when I was very young, kind of like 9, 10-ish. And I built my own forge out of clay, and it's really easy to get charcoal in Tanzania where I grew up. So I used to get a load of charcoal, an old leaf blower, which I literally taped a bunch of pipes to, and used to put my own little charcoal forge together. And I used to get steel so hot it would genuinely melt in within 5 minutes of putting it into the forge, and I loved doing that blacksmithing. My anvil was just on an old piece of rail track because we couldn't get anvils there. So yeah, I used to love doing that stuff when I was a kid. It stopped for a while. I was thinking about filling Milo's underside with epoxy granite after moving electronics out. Would that help with anything? It can't hurt. It can't hurt. If you're gonna do it and you're gonna put it in casa, I would not go with the basement, because the basement probably won't stand up to that weight without reinforcing. But the basement doesn't really do that much in casa, if I'm being honest. So you can probably get away without it. Right, I need a motor. Motor's over here. Ooh, motor. Yeah, the more weight you can add to a machine like this, the better. I know there's going to be someone who's going to be like, oh, it's not the same as adding weight is not the same as adding dampening mass. Well, at this scale, it probably is. When you're working with such a light machine as Milo, and I'm using the term light here very loosely because Milo's a heavy bastard most days, but light in comparison to proper cast iron machines, then any weight is good weight. I'm designing a chip auger for my basement to help clean up. Cool. I think probably an air blast method, just have 2 hoses with holes poked in them on either side of casa, just to knock them all down would be a good thing to add as well as the auger. But then you have to worry about your compressor and this, that, and the next thing. I've noticed that the fan, the little 3D printed fan that I have little 3D printed fans that I've been putting on the collet. And at first they scared the hell out of me, because if one of these explodes, I don't want 3D printed parts in my skin. But they've lasted really well, and they keep chips out. So they're amazing at clearing chips, honestly. I would rather go with one of those fans than a compressor, just to keep complexity down. I'm building a custom enclosure because my dad gave me a random steel table I used it for. So probably will handle the weight. Yeah, in that case, if you're happy drilling into the top of the steel table that you got and putting some threads in, what I would do is I would 3D print some plugs that go all the way through the electronics table, fill that up with epoxy, take those plugs out, and then bolt it straight down to that steel table. That would give you an amazing amount of performance boosts. Bit fans, yeah. They're really good. They're really good. I've forgotten what sized bolts go over here. They're definitely not the ones I have on the table. I feel like it was just last week that I organized all my bolts and things, and now they're all over the place again. I was thinking of small vibration motors added to the underside of the basement panels that run periodically to avoid compressor running more than it needs. They won't be running when I run the machine to avoid affecting the machine. Okay. Yeah, that could work. Is this the right size? No. I think 5 by 25 would be the right size. Most probably. 5 by 25. I'm planning on my own. I'm planning on building a custom enclosure. I got a CNC plasma cutter. I need to start designing. Oh, nice. Yeah. One day, and I've talked about this so many times on stream. I really want to start branching out on machines. I don't want to just do CNC machines forever. Well, they'll all be CNC machines, but they're not going to be CNC mills or routers all the time. I really want to do some, like a plasma cutter. I want to do, I don't want to do a laser cutter, but there's part of me that does want to do a laser cutter just for the challenge of it. But then I have to worry about whether or not I'm going to laser someone's eye out by accident.
Workshop air quality return to minimum levels. Turning filters off.
Thank you. Small issue. Small issue that I didn't think about. I am out of spider couplers. So attaching the motor to the screw isn't going to be possible until I get more spider couplers. I can steal the ones off of... Yeah. I'll do that. I'm going to steal the one off of Atlas because we're not going to be using Atlas for a while. Oh my god, Atlas is heavy. Alright, let's make some space. I'll ask LDO to send me some more because the LDO spider couplers are really nice. God, this... You get to see Atlas for the first time since Smurf. This is literally it. Atlas hasn't changed since Smurf. I cannot wait until Atlas is a proper thing. Milo lathe when? Never! Talked about this before. Milo lathe doesn't make any sense. The best protocol is buy a cheap lathe from Vivo or from Grizzly or something like that. They cost less than $1,000 and probably more like 600 to be honest, and convert it to CNC. Don't waste your time with getting an extrusion-based mill, an extrusion-based one. The reason I say this is not because I wouldn't want to make one, because it would be really fun to make one, is just because there's no way it makes sense financially. Oh, damn it. This is going to be harder than I thought, isn't it? Doesn't really make much sense financially to do it the other way around. as if I were in another project. The worst part about it is that you end up with tons of metal scrap you plan to use for all other projects you don't know about yet. Yeah. Does anyone else hoard chips? Am I the only one who hoards chips? Whenever I do anything, it's been a while since I worked on Atlas, so I've forgotten how it goes together. Oh, this is an awkward thing to do. How does it go together? I've genuinely forgotten this. This is awkward. I hoard some chips too because my friend's brother does smelt aluminium sometimes. He even gave me a sample. Nice. Yeah, you gotta watch out for cast aluminium. You gotta watch out for cast aluminium when you're milling stuff, because you don't know what the properties of the casting are gonna be like, because they change whenever you smelt them. They can change whenever you smelt them, as long if you're not using the correct recipe. Oh god. This is the thing, sometimes you just forget how you made something. And you forget how hard it is to put together, and how hard it is to take apart. But I'm committed now, so I can't stop. But I intend to dump them, so that's fair. I wouldn't dump them. I'd take them to, at least take them to a recycling plant. There we go. Got this piece off finally. Perfect. That's off now. Reconnect it. Yeah, at least a recycling plant, because at least you're getting a little bit of money back on it. And if you're not worried about the money, then at least you're not just dumping them where they'll never be used ever again. Well, at least they'll get recycled. Is that the wrong one? I think that was the wrong one. No, it's the correct one. Right. There we go. That can now be put away. Right. All that just so I can use I get a spider coupling. Is Jose still here? Jose, if you're about, let me know. I'm gonna ask you a question. Not a bad question. Don't worry. Oh, brisket. I have never known a dog that farts worse than this hound. What do you eat, bud? Jesus. Jose, perfect, you're here. Right, so, Jose, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, because Jason sent me a message the other day saying something about V1.6 and to go ahead with V2, which is a different conversation I had with Dave a few days before that. Am I right to go with what Jason says or with someone else? Deep 940, so many videos of people building one of these, very little on people actually using it. Sort of a bummer. Would love to see lots of parts being made before I build them. go on the Millennium Machines website and scroll down to the bottom. There is a highlights section there for you. You can see all kinds of machines. And also, go on the Discord and go to the Showcase channel, because most of the videos get posted to the Showcase channel. Because it's easier to... most people like to share with their own community. Yeah, we spoke. He thinks it's best to proceed with 2.0. Okay, right. So, going back to the original plan of doing V2 and then doing self-source release for the 1.6, which was the original plan. That's fine. Cheers for letting me for confirming that. Last time I locked my cat out of my bedroom because I was milling. When I opened the door, he came back in. My father saw oh my desk. Oh, gross. Yeah, sorry. I know I said 1.6 as well. It's all right. It's all right. I am not fussed. I am happy to just continue working. I don't mind what comes first. I don't mind at all. For those of you who are wondering, we're in the release candidate stage for V2 at the moment. So we're up to RC2 or 3 at the moment. So release candidates 2 or 3, and it's basically just making sure everything's named correctly, making sure that everything is set up nicely, make sure all the screws are there, etc, etc, etc. Nightan, go run, enjoy the stream, everyone. No worries, dude. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah, so V2 is basically in its last legs. It's almost done. We're gonna work with. It's gonna be a while until it's released because we've got to do all the stuff on the LDO side, and in that time, V1.5 is still available. It might be a later release than we were expecting. And that's not because of anything design related. It's more just because it takes time to get suppliers and things like that. Because we don't want to... The last thing I want to do is release V2 and then everyone forgets about it because there's no kit available. I would like to have a kit available alongside V2. V1.6 is a little different. Because V1.6 is probably most people upgrading. So I might do V1.6 release earlier. Who knows? V1.6 seems like it would be one of those things that would be people would be happy to mill themselves. Oh my god, where's everyone going? What have I done? What have I said? Nah, it's just probably because we're in the earlier time slot. I have noticed this with streaming earlier before, is if you stream early, the US misses the notification. People in the US miss the notification, and people in the US make up most of the audience, I'm afraid. It is what it is. Bearing. Oh no. Thank you, Brisket. I really appreciate being kicked in the middle of stream. He's He's a very fidgety sleeper. You said interesting things and people were too focused on what you said to comment. Huh? I'm so confused. No, it's not the commenting. It's I can see the viewer count. It's not people interacting. Most of the people who interact are the people who will stay throughout the whole stream. That's absolutely fine. And I love having you guys around. I'm not complaining at all. I just know that people are busy at this time of day. I'm just talking purely on people who are watching, that's all. Wonder if Lottos is still here. Just so you guys know, the video for tuning steps per millimeters have been delayed a little bit, just because it's mostly to do with the fact that because the ball screw version can only run at about 1,000 millimeters a minute, it's not good enough feed rate to be able to do the parts in plastic that I need, because on plastic parts you need to run at quite a high feed. So all I'm getting is burnt. I'm just burning up the plastic and melting it instead of actually cutting it. So I've decided that I'm going to have to do a proper aluminium test with it, which is going to take time to arrive and set up and do all that stuff. In the meantime, there are loads of like little videos and updates that people like 9 Mile put out, things that concern Millennium OS, stuff like that. There's other people on the team who do smaller projects, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of those videos. I'm going to effectively repost them all in the same place so that everyone can kind of look at them. Don't expect anything wild in terms of editing. These are videos from people who don't try and make YouTube videos, but they do give you like an update on what people are actually working on and where the effort's going and stuff like that. It's more in an effect of just trying to be more transparent to you guys as to what we're doing and where money's being spent and where the effort's going, that type of thing. By the way, I planned on putting mist cooling into Milo after I'm done building the enclosure. Might be a stupid question, but wouldn't hurt the steppers or the spindle that is spraying cool. Just don't spray directly onto them and they should be fine. The coils that are used on most steppers and most motors, in fact, are enamel copper ones, and they're inherently waterproof. I think there are people who literally... There was an old video of someone running a Prusa just completely underwater. As long as the coils don't have any breaks in them or any issues like that, you'll be fine. Ray did some great videos on machine tuning. Yeah, exactly. So I want to do some like dev diary stuff where it's just effectively just posting it all in one place so that everyone gets an idea. But I want to call it dev diary so people know, well, these aren't going to be polished videos. These are like, oh, 9 Mile sent me a video of a new probing cycle that he made, so I'm gonna post that, stuff like that. It's not going to replace the normal content that we do. Definitely not going to replace the streams. But it does just mean that there's some stuff there for people to look at in between me making videos. I picked up a touch probe the other day on Amazon, going to finally try milling aluminium. Might try doing the HOI as the first thing. Nice. Either first projects I would recommend is either HOI, a spoil board, an aluminium spoil board. Thank you, Alexa. Or something like the hold downs. Yeah, the hold downs for the fixated plate is always a good one to start with. Why aren't you threading properly? This is why I have screwdrivers. It's so much easier to do with screwdrivers. There we go. I started with fixated hold downs, but I did them in wood, then aluminium to make sure I didn't mess up. Ah, you went the Minecraft method, did you? Started down low on the tech tree, went for wooden tools first, then went up and up and up and up. Wait. Is Minecraft RepRap? Because the whole point of RepRap is that you use something that you make initially to then make the same thing but better. Guys, I think we figured out that Minecraft is RepRap. You can't just jump into the middle of the tree. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's like when you're playing Civ. Have you ever played Civilization before? Any of the Civilization games? You don't go for all the low-tech stuff first. You pick one single research tree and you go for that until you get to your nuclear bombs. And then by the time you get to nuclear bombs and you do the rest of the research tree, you can finally unlock like horsemen or something. So you end up with thermonuclear devices and horsemen in the same age. That's how it works, duh. When I first milled with Milo, I remember that I only had my Ali bar, but wanted to make sure machines working before, so I 3D printed a 100% infill ABS block. Yeah, that was kind of the idea behind using the printed calibration tools that we were using. The issue is, because you're taking a millimeter off either side, your wall thickness needs to be like 6 or 7 walls thick. And if you're me and you get really upset by uneven numbers, it's got to be 8 walls thick and not 7 walls thick. And then you've got to make sure that the base is thick enough so that when you put it in a vise, it doesn't flex upwards. So that was one of the issues you had, but it does work. Any recommendations as far as a must-have to buy, not in the standard LDO kit? Mostly just fixturing, something like a vise. You don't actually need a vise. You don't need a vise at all. But something like a vise is something you could use. Vices are good when you don't want to take a lot of time to do setup work. And you want something that's going to be quick and easy, and you don't really need to do that much cam stuff to avoid. Some hold down clamps are good. A 3D touch probe, definitely. Ooh, a machinist hammer. Doesn't need to be a fancy hammer. Literally, the little hammers that come with IKEA stuff, like IKEA furniture, these are great. They're soft on both ends. You can tap down the stock wherever you need to. These are great. A dial indicator, not a DTI, not the DTIs that come with the Milo kits from LDO. So if you don't know what the difference is, this is a dial indicator, right? These are used as measuring tools. This is a dial test indicator. These are the ones that come with the LDO kits. These are used as comparison tools most of the time. They do vary depending on how you use them, but these are used as comparators a lot of the time. These ones come with the LDO kits because you can use these. You kind of use these more often, a lot of the time, than you use just normal dial indicators. So I would get yourself a dial indicator as well as a DTI because you use them quite a lot. they do come in handy. Right. I need some more bearings. And some more clampy things. Touch both for sure. Fixtures. Yeah, it's mostly just fixturing. The thing is with when you get into CNC stuff, fixtures are about as important as material themselves. And you never ever have enough fixtures. All you do is you continuously gain more and more fixtures. And the more fixturing tools you have, the easier it is to do setups. Or the more versatility you have when doing setups. That worked out perfectly. This is my last thrust bearing that I have. And I don't want to wait for the new ones to come in because they take an age to come in. I stacked end mills myself before getting the Milo. Had like 30 different kinds. Yes, I did too. I bought loads. Whenever there was a Tramming sale, Tramming they're a brand that makes cheap end mills that are pretty decent. Whenever they had a sale on, I would instantly go on AliExpress and buy a bunch of them because you could buy like 10 for less than a $5. The issue is when DMS opened up and when I left DMS, I decided it was a good idea to buy a whole bunch of stock from DMS as a just in case type thing. And we bought them for the team and all that stuff. Bought 500 quid's worth of end mills and tooling and all that stuff. So I'm good for end mills now. So all the ones that I bought from Tramming just go unused. I bolted the 123 block to bits. Oh. I agree, but at least the linear rails were. Oh, I'm missing a whole conversation here. On the note of the DTI, on the LDO kit, I found it funny they supplied the magnetic holder on an aluminium machine. Yeah, I mean, it's an odd one. It's an odd one. The steel plates are just too expensive. They're not too expensive, they're too heavy to put in a kit. Because the Milo kit is like 30 to 40 kilos, and that's kind of just on the cusp of what LDO can supply in terms of weight, as far as I know. So if you're going to put steel plates in there, something else has to give. It's all... LDO has the unenviable task of having to find a perfect balance for what to include in kits and what not to include in kits. I don't think LDO really... This is a personal opinion. I don't think LDO should supply end mills in kits. It's not because the end mills aren't good. I really like the LDO end mills. In fact, the chamfer mills that the LDO kits come with are fucking amazing. I love them. I genuinely cannot buy any other ones because these are great. I have some from Datron that are worse than those ones, but they're really expensive. For a whole kit, for a whole kit of those, I think it's like 50 quid here in the UK. If you wanted to buy the LDO branded ones, that's 50 quid that's added to the kit. And I can buy cheap end mills from other places, like DMS does them cheaper than the LDO ones are. I can buy those ones and they're just as good for the majority of processors. And I can save on that 50 quid. I don't want that extra stuff in the kit, but that's just me. Some people do want the extra stuff in the kit. But it's the same as like, why don't 3D printers that come from LDO come with filament, for example? They don't really need to come with filament. In the same way, I don't think LDO kits should come with end mills because people can supply that stuff themselves. But that's just a me. That might be a very weird thing. I don't know. What are your guys' opinions on that? All right. I'll put the plate on later. We don't need to do it now. But so what we'll move on to now is putting the double F&Js on. Yeah, end mill buying is bad. End mill buying is bad because this just cheap enough to make you go, okay, I can buy one of these, and then you see a deal and go, I'm gonna buy 10 of these, and then by the end of your buying spree, you've ended up buying 50 odd different ones. All right. Where is... Right, I need a different bit set. I think it's just a starting point so people can get their feet wet. I understand that, but that starting point can be so much cheaper. Like 50 quid is a lot. That's a good, what, 5% of the total cost of Milo? Like that's 5% that people can save themselves. It's another delay on getting started. When I first started, it wasn't clear which ones are good and so on. Yeah, I do get that. This isn't me like suggesting this or anything. This is me going, if I was buying it, I would probably buy it without the end mill kit. If I was starting all over. But then again, I am a bit of a cheapskate with stuff like this. So don't take it as a recommendation, take it as a, this is my opinion. I got that they decide to add some end mills. When you finish your build, you want to start with something, also get an idea of what to buy. Yeah. One thing I always worried about, right? I worry about this with all CNC machines, especially with like the Carvera machines. We'll go full circle and go back to the Carvera machines. Everyone I know who has bought a Carvera machine has been supplied with that first set of end mills and only used those end mills for the rest of their time that they have the machine. If they need more, they buy them direct from Carvera, and they end up missing out on a huge array of things that they can do. Because people think, oh, this is comfortable, this is great. And they don't branch out enough. And then inevitably, they stop using the machine because it can't do what they want it to do. I proposed a getting started project. Maybe that could be a kit with stock and mills. Yeah. Look at the ones from DMS. DMS sells starting kits, like project kits, and they include all the bolts that you require, all the stock that you require, and then he also supplies a tutorial that goes with it. Thomas, I buy everything cheap AliExpress throws at me. I wish that wasn't true for me too. It's just the way it is, isn't it? Right, here's a question for you guys to debate in the comments. Should I have steel first, next to aluminium, and then another aluminium plate on top of that? Or should I do extrusion, aluminium, then steel? I bought the fixator kit and only used 2 of the 5 bits of aluminium that came with it, and used the rest to make it work and stop fully in such a price. Yeah, bar stock is really cheap when you're here in the UK. Plate is expensive, bar stock is cheap. So Dave got off really well with that, because you can get like 5 pieces of aluminium for an extremely good price and just chop it down. I genuinely think he makes like a 50% profit off of those. And it's still a cheap kit. So I'm fine with it. Are you secretly the one ordering all that stuff for me that my wife keeps asking me about? Stiffest outside, that's 1. See, I would have thought you want stiffest on the inside, but debate me. Debate. You guys debate. Should I do steel FMJs first, steel FMJs second? Or should I be really crazy and really dumb and have both steel FMJs on one side and both aluminium FMJs on the other side? Oh, forgot. Jormungand, you forgot to remind me. God damn it, man, you had one job. You had one job. What have you forgotten to remind me? What have you forgotten to remind me? You had one job, my friend. Aluminium on one side, steel on the other sounds so cursed. Did you remind me? When did you remind me? No, you didn't. I'm going to pretend like you didn't remind me and that I am not to be blamed here and that it's all your fault. No. Can you put a, let's say a 20-minute timer. Let's do a 20-minute timer, and I will take a moment just to reopen the giveaway at the bottom. So, in a second, I'm going to reopen the giveaway. So, if you want to win yourselves a roll of any of your choosing, as long as it's in stock, of any type of Ambrosia filament from West 3D or from DMS here in the UK, go ahead, there is a link in the description, sign yourselves up. You must be in the UK or the US to receive the gift. If you have any friends or family or anyone that you wish to give it to who do live in the UK or in the US, we can organize that too. All that will happen at the end is I'll pass on those details to whoever is representing, whichever country wins first. It's either going to be Dave from DMS or Alan from West 3D. There we go, and it is opened again. There you go, folks. Win yourself some stuff. Steve Knobs, how you doing? Currently printing with the Ambrosia I won a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah, the Ambrosia stuff's really nice. Ambrosia stuff's really nice. There are two of my, I have two go-to like glitter-filled ABSs, and one of them is from Printy Please here in the UK. It's called Cat Yarn, and I love it. And the Ambrosia stuff. I did print with some Polymaker filled stuff, but it shrunk like crazy, and I didn't like it very much. Did you hear anything from BTD about refreshing Siler? I reached out to them about 12-volt relay, and they asked me to wait because of redesign. As far as I know, there's no redesign that's happening. It's literally someone put a box of 12-volt relays in the box that had 5-volt, that meant to have 5-volt relays on it. The 12-volt one's being driven at 5 volts, so there's no issues with it burning down or anything. That's not going to happen, even if you did get the wrong ones. The only thing that can go wrong is if you're following our setup, then the only thing that can go wrong is the machine e-stops by accident. As far as I know, they're going to be just sending replacement boards out, and I know it wasn't very many people who got affected by it. I think it was genuinely a handful. I'm talking less than 50, as far as I know, but yeah. But I'll start the timer now. Perfect. Thanks, Jormungand. All right, so what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Are we thinking aluminium first, or are we thinking steel first? God, that's heavy. That's about 3 times heavier than that is. Oh, strong like bull. We are currently modifying motherboard hardware. I will try my best to arrange it for you in advance. The project is being expedited. Please wait patiently. I have no idea. That's news to me. It might be something to do with the FlexiHal stuff that happened a few weeks ago, but we're not too sure. I think steel on the outside for better magnetic spots. That is a good point. That is a good point. I think I'm going to make that the winning point. It's going to be a lot easier to put things, to use a magnetic indicator if it's actually magnetic. I need some M5x20s. Okay, no rush. I will wait patiently. Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with them. Oh no. Oh no. I messed up. What have I messed up? Oh no. I bought the wrong size bolts. Wash as it is. Have no time to replace the board anyway. Fair enough. Yeah, if you are worried about the 12-volt relay thing, don't be worried about it. It's not a big issue. Obviously, get it replaced if you're affected by it. But it's nothing. No, it's not a mistake that we consider dangerous at all. It will do if you're not using that relay anyway, which a lot of setups aren't. It's literally going to do nothing. Do I have washers? I have lots of M5 washers. So that's what I'm looking for, M5 washers. I have some M5 washers. I swear I used to have like 100 of these. Oh, that's a pain in the ass. I ordered the wrong bolts. I'll have to reorder some. But for now, just to get it in place. Oh, that sucks so hard. I do appreciate the handling though. I had one of those faulty SCR2s and the affair was less than ideal. Yeah. For future reference, do you want me just to start the timer when you start the stream while asking me in the future? No, I want you. Jormungand, come on. You know your job, man. You know better than I do that what I really want is I want you to link with me mentally and understand what I want before I want it, right? That's your job. If you can't do that, then you're gonna have to dock your pay. Yes, yes, for future reference, yeah. For future reference, yeah, go ahead. Start a stream, start a timer like every half hour if you're on stream. It just means that I don't forget about it as much. If you want to, that is. If you want to be helpful. If you don't want to be, then it's my own problem. Right, for now, just so that I can hold it in place, I'm just going to use some M5 washers and put like 4 bolts in so that it stays in the right place. I'll invent a time machine so that it also goes backwards in time. Nice. See, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking with your noggin. Right, so hopefully all the T-nuts stay in place, because the T-nuts are the worst bit of the old FMJs. But yeah, this should work well enough to pin it in place. And just a reminder for you folks, if you do enjoy what we do over here, if you do enjoy the videos we put out and the streams that we do and all the stuff that we do behind the scenes here at Millennium, there are some links down below in the description to a Patreon account and a PayPal account if you would like to support us monetarily. If not, that's absolutely okay. A like also goes a million miles for us. And also sharing the video and or channel and or stream also helps out a lot. So if you want to do any of those things, they're there for you to do. I'm going to miss having all the black oxide, sorry, not all the black oxide, all the black nickel plated parts that came with the LDO kit. Because they look so nice, but most of them are incompatible. Or I just don't have enough of them, and it would look weird if some of them are stainless steel and some of them are nickel. Go run something by you guys. If you were going to buy a printer, if you're going to buy a printer or build a printer, what are your... Time's up. You want to get this time up? I'm going to ask this question first, and then you can answer whilst I'm doing all the other stuff. If you're going to buy a printer or buy a kit, what do you think are necessary to include with it? Doesn't need to be, I'm talking about like features here. I'm talking about, does it need to be Core XY? Does it need to be fast? Does it need to be slow? Does it need to have a temperature? And think of a budget of around about $2,000. You've got a budget of $2,000. What do you add to this printer? And go. Whilst you're thinking of that, I'm going to get the giveaway sorted. Well-balanced all-round, but what does well-balanced all-round mean? What does well-balanced all-round mean? You have 1 minute left, by the way, if you haven't done so already, to go ahead and enter yourselves into the giveaway. Remember, you can only be in the UK or the US, or you can have friends that are in either of those places. All metal motion system done with printers that use printed parts for motion systems. Reliability is priority 1. Okay, what does reliability mean? Right, because reliability can mean a lot of things. Reliably fast, reliably slow, reliably print things. What does it mean? You have 10 seconds left until I close responses. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's closed. Oh, I was right the first time. Right, around and round the wheel goes. Where does it land? Nobody knows. Right, John Fleshler, well done, dude. You've won yourself a roll of Ambrosia Filament of the Gods. Ooh, there we go. That's what I need to do. Right, well done. I'll get your details and you'll get an email sent to you from either the European or American provider, depends on on where you are in the world. They'll email you, they'll organize everything on your part. So well done, congrats, and let's get back to what we're doing. 2K printer kit better than Voron is difficult, something innovative. Reliability doesn't break and I don't have to mess around with it all the time. Okay, so if you're going to build a reliable printer, how would you build it? Would you make it Core XY? Would you make it Core XY? Would you make it a bed slinger? Would you make it easily repairable? Would you make it belted? Because I think a lot of the issues with a lot of printers nowadays is belts. Why am I on YouTube? I need to be over here. Super fast, massive build size, completely reliable, and most importantly, incredibly cheap. Definitely. You know when you have those charts that say you can either have it fast, cheap, or done properly, but you can only ever have 2 of those? Yeah. Linear motors. Okay, linear motors are, I would say, out of the range of a custom build, a self-source build. So maybe not linear motors. I don't actually think linear motors are that much more reliable, to be honest. Does LEO linear motors do linear motors already? No, they don't. I think the Vorons are already pretty good. Probably the Trident is the best compromise of a DIY printer. I think you can do better than Trident. Here's my my personal opinion. I love my Trident. I think it's the simplest out of all the Vorons. But I also, and I've only just got it working because it's, well, I got it working a year ago and it worked fine for a while, and then I redid everything and then it stopped working, and then blah 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 blah. The issue I have with a lot of the Voron machines is the way they do the bed. This is why I really like the VZ bot. I really like the VZ bot because it doesn't overcomplicate the bed. I get that quad gantry leveling is a thing, and it's a thing it's a feature that everyone loves who owns a Voron, but I don't think it's necessary, and I think it makes printers slightly less reliable. Super fast. Honestly, mostly a decent chamber, ideally something like 70C. I know more is tough with off-the-shelf parts like rails and so on. Yeah. Just so that we can open that discussion up to people, you can't build a 3D printer that does more than 80 degrees C without spending over like $3,000, $4,000 just on linear rails. Because most linear rails and screws and things are only rated to 80 degrees centigrade. So that's why all these really, really big high performance printers that you see from Stratasys and all that seem overpriced for what they are, when in actuality they're not. It's just that when you get over that 80 degree barrier, things get really expensive. CNC gantry AWD compatible with filament. AWD. So why AWD specifically? That's one. The QGL and Trident equivalent are mechanisms that exist to fix things. It's not a feature, it's a yeah, I get you. In all seriousness, being easy to repair and using all off-the-shelf parts that don't lie to me, that don't tie me into a manufacturer's ecosystem are main concerns. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there. Has anyone ever seen the Pantheon machines? AWD is kind of a pain. RatRig's hybrid system is much more useful motion system. Interesting. I'm going to say interesting. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about a response for a little bit longer. A feature I really learned to appreciate, make it quiet. My V-Core 3 is great, but so annoyingly loud. Yeah, I get that. Easy fix, just put the printer in a different building. We can't all afford our own buildings, okay? If you manage to design something nearly like a Pantheon for 2K, take my money. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. I have ideas. But I agree with you. There's a huge amount of flexibility to be had with 3D printed parts on a machine, but it's normally the 3D printed parts that I have to do the maintenance on. So I think a machine where the parts that are important are CNC'd are a big thing for me. So that might have something to do with it. Ekram, how you doing, bud? Thanks for joining. I would love a smaller format IDEX. IDEX is cool. The issue with IDEX in the form factor I'm looking at potentially doing something with is it would... I don't want to use belts. I'm going to leave it there in terms of I'm not going to explain any further. I'll happily spend 15 to 20 pounds extra per knock to a fan than $3 to $5 for ball bearing fans. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. My Trident is still the loudest printer I own. The thing is, everyone complained about the bamboo printers being loud, but they're only really loud when you're printing PLA and they have the fan on. I don't think they're any... I actually think they're a lot quieter than my Trident is when printing ABS. But that might just be because I tend to print when I'm not in the room and there's a whole door and a whole wall separating me from that. Using a CNC mid-frame is probably the way forward. Yeah. Although I will put my 2 cents in. The CNC mid-frames that I've seen so far, the ones where it's a laser cut piece and then extrusions underneath, I don't see how they do very much. I don't see how they change the game. In my mind, they don't do very much. I'm also done with belts. Yeah, I think belts are half the reason. Because the thing is, how many people have been in this exact situation before where they're putting on a stealth burner or something like that, and they cut the belts and they cut slightly too short, and you end up having to jig things around or buy whole new belts and this, that, and the next thing. Or the belts have started fraying up against a pulley because they're not quite in the right space. What do you think about Bruno's V1.5 mod? I have no idea what it is. As far as what I think about it, I don't know what it is, so I can't think about it. Send me a DM on Discord and I'll have a look at it. Your music is pretty loud. Okay, I'll turn it down. Turn it down a little bit, a wee bit. How's that? No worries, dude. No worries at all. I find it funny as well that Vorons got a whole load of they went to cable chains, and then everyone went, oh, these cable chains are great, and then collectively as a community everyone went away from cable chains and went to umbilical. I do find that funny. I find it funny what communities latch onto. There's some, like, don't get me wrong, the umbilical is better if, I hate to say the word better. I hate saying things are better or worse. The cable chains are a good thing to have if you're doing a very specific thing. If you're looking for a very specific thing. But I do like to see how communities change over time. I finally changed from chains to umbilical 2 weeks ago. Exactly. Like, everyone's doing it. And it makes sense. If you're going that speed, you don't want a big heavy chain following you about that's constantly knocking onto things. There are no solutions, only compromises. A thing is only better than something else in some regards. Exactly. You took the words right out my mouth. After replacing at least 3 or 4 broken wires. Yeah. That was one of the issues I had. So this is something that has been fixed in later LDO kits, but when I got my Trident, originally from LDO, thank you LDO for sponsoring that Trident. I love you guys. You guys are the best. When I got it originally, it was the pre-terminated, like, big chunky cable that had like 15, 16 different connectors running through the cable chain. That broke quite a lot, but that wasn't just an LDO problem. That was a problem in general. And I don't like CAN. CAN is something that just never stuck with me. But when the LDO Nighthawk came out, the Nighthawk changed my life. Genuinely, I love that thing so much. I love it so much that I used it when I built the switch wire. It came with the kit. I love it so much I bought 2 more to stick on my Trident and another Voron that I was going to build but never got around to doing it. I love that Nighthawk board so much. If umbilical is done right, it benefits input shaper, also avoids breaking wires. Elio Motors, how you doing, bud? Happy Monday to you too. Happy Monday to you too. To be honest, other toolheads did USB 2. Which toolheads did people keep saying this, but who did it before? LDO was the first, to my knowledge, that did it, and I really like the Nighthawk because of that. Yeah. I ran my fly shit on USB for a few weeks. Yeah. Milo could be so good. Milo could be so good. They genuinely could. But so much of what Milo puts out is underthought. And it annoys me. The other board can run USB, but the more cater for Ken. Is a half solution a solution, though? Can you call a half solution a solution? That's like saying, oh, I bought these dancing shoes for you, this spick and this span, and they can technically run a marathon. You can technically run a marathon in them. It was meant for uploading firmware, but I'm using the BTT EBB36 with just a USB cable and strain relief. Yeah, there. What I really love about the Nighthawk are the standard JST XH plugs. Yes, yes. Don't ever bring JST up around 9 Mile. He hates JST, all JST standards with a passion. You can run a marathon in those shoes in style, but very slowly. Yeah, that's true. Yomangan, once again, you are wise beyond your years. Right. That should hold together now for long enough for me to get some new bolts in and finish it off. But fucking hell, this thing's heavy now. Look at how thick this boy is. She's dummy thick. I want to try something. Hold on. Do I have more FMJs? I do. I don't think these will fit, but I'm going to try it. I'm just going to test fit. Bruno's a YouTuber guy who currently makes radical mods on Milo V1.5. I honestly haven't seen him. Again, just send me a link on Discord or something. Will that fit with the 20 mil? No, it won't. Didn't think it would. So here's a question, because I'm going to have to order new bolts anyway. Do people want to see the triple sandwich? Should we do the triple sandwich? Triple stack FMJs. Should we do it? I'm going to have to order new bolts anyway, because I don't have enough. It'll probably be M5 by 18 or 16 or something like that. So if I go, I should be able to get away with M5 by 25s and reorder like 100 of those. And then triple stack this baby. Go, 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 YOLO, go for it. Okay, yeah. This is ridiculous. Whoever gets this machine is going to have the stiffest Milo on Earth, on planet Earth. That's an inch worth of plating. That's, yeah, it's more than an inch by the looks of it. Go for it, but remember steel on the outside so you can magnetic mount. Yeah, it'll still be steel on the outside. It'll still be steel on the outside. Yeah. Okay. We'll put this away for now. And once we get some more bolts in, I'll order some in after stream or something. I actually have to figure out how deep the bolts are meant to go. I want to see you lift that thing onto Casa. No, it's going to be way too heavy to fit in Casa. How heavy is it going to be? Well, considering I've filled the extrusions on the Z-axis with epoxy granite, which adds about 1.5 kilos of weight. The steel FMJs are around about 1.5 kilos each. Then you've got the normal FMJs, which are about 500 to 600 grams or something like that. So carry the 2 plus the 1, and you get a fuck ton. It's going to be really fucking heavy. Yeah, it's going to be a heavy boy, but it's also not going to have the electronics box. So take that into account. It's not going to have the electronics box, so it will probably come out to be around the same weight as a normal Milo. So yeah. Anyways, I've not got much more I can do on the stream today because I'm obviously going to have to get new screws and things. But we can assemble. We can kind of pre-assemble. Whoa, that nearly hit Brisket in the head. Are you okay, buddy? He didn't even wake up. His head didn't even move. Are you okay, pup? He's still asleep, as if nothing happened. I bought a cheap motorbike lift to get my tools moved around. Nice. Nice. You know what you need to buy with that motorcycle lift? You need to buy a motorcycle. Because otherwise, what's the point in living? Yeah. I'm just asking out of what? Oh, okay. Don't. Norman Gann's making a joke. Okay, I get you. Yeah. Ekram, I've not heard of him. I don't know what he is. Again, just send me something on Discord. I'll have a look at it. I can't promise anything. But yeah. If he looks good, I'll give you my opinion on him. If he doesn't, I don't know. Right, so there are a few features that are machined into both the new Milo tram plate and also the printed parts. So this is meant to be assembled, like put on after you actually build the whole machine. So the machine would be standing out in front of you. So there are 2 holes in the printed part. There's one here and there's one at the top. And this is just to make it easier to mount. So you find the hole that is the smallest. So one of these holes here is smaller than all the others. And remember, this will already be mounted on another plate behind it. You get a shoulder bolt. Right, where are my shoulder bolts? I had a load of them. There we go. Chat left me behind. Live with it, yeah. Okay, so yeah. So, if you've never seen a shoulder bolt before, they kind of look like this. And they have a normal thread at the end, but they normally have a little shoulder that's about 1 metric size bigger than the threaded end. So this is M6, and the thread is M5. So this sits quite snugly into that top left if you're looking at the machine. And that shouldn't move around at all. So that's now in there, it's not moving around at all. Right? And on the other 4, you just have normal M5x10 bolts, M5x10 button head bolts, and they sit in really oversized holes. So in the oversized holes, they'll move around quite a lot, and there's a good reason for that. The reason for that is you want it to pivot around the shoulder bolt, so it pivots that way. And you want there to be enough space so that you get about 2 degrees of rotation on either side. So you loosen these 3 bolts off, you rotate it and tram it into however you want, and then you tighten these 3 bolts up, and the shoulder bolt always stays at least moderately tight. And that way you can tram it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is, because this is normally meant to be installed on a machine, right, to make it a little bit easier so you're not having to mess about with holding things with one hand or trying to screw them in, there are 2 bolts that just slide through the printed part, just like that. And now that's all assembled together. You don't need to worry about it. To tighten these other bolts, there are some pass-throughs. So there's a pass-through hole on either corner. And if you've got either an HOI or a half plate, you just slide these in now. They will be a little bit tight, but they'll slot in. So you've now got a half plate. Then with the rest of the assembly, just stick it on top, and you use some M5 by 100 bolts, and these now thread straight through into that plate that's behind it. So you've now got metal on metal contact all the way through if you're using the HOIs. Just like that. The reason we did it like this is because on V1.5, if you wanted to tram it, you had to kind of, it was a little bit awkward to do it, because the spindle, the clamping force of the spindle was also attached to, was also how you trammed it. So if you loosen those bolts to tram it, there was your spindle also came loose at the same time. So you ended up in this awkward situation where you're trying to kind of hold onto the spindle at the same time. And this stops that. It completely separates the clamping force of the spindle from the trammability of the spindle. And there you go. So that's the first plate and the clamp for the spindle. You don't actually have to have the printed parts if you're using HOIs. If you'd rather not print them, go ahead. You don't have to print them. Now, this plate here would then further connect to another plate that's behind it, and that plate is what connects to the carriages, to the rail carriages. So you kind of have this double stack plate setup for the Z-axis, and it's the same on V2. In fact, the spindle, all those parts, the spindle clamp, the double plate, they're the exact same as V2. So V1.6 uses the V2 Z-axis clamp setup, the spindle clamp setup. It's all the exact same. So you can port it from one machine to another if you really wanted to. So yeah, right. In that case, that's all I can do on stream today. I'm going to open it up for 2 or 3 more minutes, just in case anyone had any questions that they wanted to ask. Just open up the floor, and then we'll end it here for the night. So 2 or 3 more minutes. Ask any questions if you want to. I'll try answer to the best of my ability whilst I do some cleanup. And we can wake the puppy up. Come on, you. Oh. Oh. He's got big recently. I got him when he was 13 kilos. And he's now 25. He's great. You breathed it. Put your paws down. You okay? No one's got any questions. We'll end it here. Ooh, don't fall off. Please don't fall off, bud. Right. Hope everyone has a great evening. And wish you guys all the best for the rest of your week. We'll probably be streaming in a couple days. Is there a good reference on how to check tram on X and Y on 1.5? I didn't quite understand that part of the instructions. It's basic. You can do it really easily just by clamping a 1, 2, 3 block together and checking how square it is. You're mostly just checking for squareness. There's no real easy way to do it. You can do it with an indicator and a load of maths, but yeah. See you next time. Take care and leave a like. Yeah, exactly. Do what Thomas says. If you like what we do here, leave yourself a like. If you like it so much that you want to contribute to the project, there are some links down below to a Patreon and to a PayPal account, and you can support us more directly. Other than that, hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye now.